going on, everybody? Welcome to a Mancave Minute podcast. I'm your host, Steve V. Appreciate you guys being here with me today, hanging out in the Mancave arcade. We're going to take some time to kind of catch up for a little bit because it's been a little while since I've made any content, but there has been some stuff that I've wanted to make videos on. I've just had no time. So the podcast kind of gives me the ability to kind of cover all these topics. So we're going to touch on that Sonic the Hedgehog cabinet from BasicFun / Arcade1Up. We're going to touch on some other BasicFun cabinets that I've actually had some experience with. So, I had some opinions on their cabinets prior to actually trying them out. But now that I've gotten to try them, it's changed my opinion on them a little bit. We're going to touch on some stuff that I've been collecting for the Mancave arcade. And then we'll kind of see where the podcast goes from there. Again, it's nice to kind of catch up with you guys. It's been pretty busy in the Steve V household with, the kids and jobs and stuff like that. But I had some time to come down to the Man Cave today, so I thought, why not do a quick podcast? So the first thing we're going to touch on is the Sonic the Hedgehog cabinet from BasicFun / Arcade1Up. Pretty much to say this kind of came out of left field, I would say is an understatement. So obviously, BasicFun, bought out Arcade1Up. They acquired Arcade1Up or some of the assets of Arcade1Up, and they said they were going to announce something at New York Toy Fair, and they showed a silhouette. And when I saw the silhouette, I thought it looked like a midway cabinet, but I was wrong. It ended up being a Sonic the Hedgehog cabinet, which there was no way of me knowing that because there is no such thing as a Sonic the Hedgehog cabinet. This is something that they're making, custom, and I get it. Sonic is a big time franchise. Obviously, they just did the movies over the last, few years, and they're very popular. For people like me, Sonic is popular because we grew up playing it on the Sega Genesis. So I feel like they thought it would kind of catch, multiple different audiences, the casual audience and some of the hardcore retro gaming audience. But here's the issue. It's a Supreme cabinet, so it's their version of XL, which is a bigger cabinet. It's more expensive. That's not something that a lot of casual people will just buy because they're pricey. And to pick a franchise that, yes, it is going to get the attention of casuals and the attention of retro gamers, but for it not to really be something that's actually a genuine arcade game, I feel like that kind of loses people. It loses me for sure. So I just don't know how well this is going to sell. Time will tell, but I've seen, BasicFun, or maybe it wasn't BasicFun, maybe it's my arcade, but I've seen some Sonic the Hedgehog, miniature arcades, and those don't seem to be like flying off, the shelves. I've seen other Sonic stuff around, and it is, again, a popular franchise, but it's not something that's really like causing people to like rush over to buy, like, for example, like, Mario for anything Nintendo wise. So with that being the case, it's going to be interesting to see how this sells. Now, they did have another cabinet there to show off, a Miss Pac-Man. That actually looked quite cool, seeing it in a bigger size. They do have to kind of fix the control deck screen situation. There should be a black bar kind of in the middle parting the two. They didn't have that, so it looked a little awkward, but I feel like this is a prototype. It's not like the final production product. I could be wrong, but that's kind of how I looked at it. So I'm not going to fully judge them on that. But if they don't put that separation, it does look awkward. But I mean, to see like that baby blue, powdered blue, old school Miss Pac-Man look, I love that. I think it looks phenomenal. That's my favorite arcade artwork. That's why, class of 81, I want to see that side kind of shown because I just love that Miss Pac-Man artwork because it's so retro and really just kind of hits me in the feels, That was definitely a cabinet that, I saw around. And it's cool that they're doing that cabinet. Now, I guess they're doing a Pac-Man as well. No big surprise there. Those are ones that I know will sell well. But the Sonic, it's 50-50. We'll see what happens. Hopefully this isn't a sign of, more stuff to come. I get they have to make stuff for the casuals, but let's make it like arcade authentic. Let's actually do titles that are actual arcade games. If you do that, you got me. But if you're not doing that, you're going to lose me a little bit, and I think you're going to lose some other people in the home arcade community. But I know there are some people that are excited for that Sonic cabinet, and I look forward to kind of hearing what they think of it if they get it into their homes. Because I was pretty judgmental on BasicFun with some of their other cabinets, and now I've had, the opportunity to actually try some of these cabinets. I went to the Brick the other day and saw that they had WWE WrestleFest, Centipede. They had the Star Wars Return of the Jedi cabinet, and I was able to try them out, and that kind of changed my opinion on the cabinets a little bit. Am I buying any of them? No. I've kind of consolidated my collection, and I'm not really looking to bring in a lot of cabinets down here. There's only one that I want to bring down here, and that's the TMNT cabinet. If they do it with the old school artwork and they have the 2 arcade games. They did show a prototype last year of a 2-player version of that cabinet, and it got me excited. I did see the menu screen. They did not have the arcade games on there. That made me a little bit nervous, but again, I know it's a prototype. It's nothing final. They haven't announced the TMNT cabinet yet, so the jury's still out if that's going to happen. But if they do that cabinet, I will buy that cabinet if it has the 2 arcade games and it has the authentic original artwork. Other than that, I'm not really looking to bring anything else into the space. Obviously I've had so many different arcade games down here, and they've all ended up being sold at some point or another. So to just bring a lot of these games back would be kind of like going backwards. I'm not looking to do that other than with the TMNT cabinet, because I regret selling my original Arcade1Up TMNT cabinet. That was a mistake. So I have to, if that opportunity comes up to get that cabinet, I want to fix that mistake and bring that down here, and that's here to stay. That's kind of the only cabinet I'm looking to bring down here. If they ever made a Superstation cabinet, which is NBA Showtime / NFL Blitz, I would love to have that cabinet. I doubt that will happen. They're always going to keep those 2, properties separate, just like Arcade1Up did. But if they were to somehow make that cabinet, I would buy that cabinet as well. Those are the only 2 cabinets I would bring into the space. Other than that, I don't want anything else. And TMNT seems the most likely. I did have some interest in WWE WrestleFest, and when I got a chance to actually play it, it is fun. I just wish that they didn't change the roster. I know they had no choice. It's licensing, but it does affect the game. Not having LOD in there, not having Sergeant Slaughter, not having, Randy Savage and WWE Superstars. It just changes the game. So I would not buy that cabinet, even though I'm a huge wrestling fan, but it was fun to play. One of the things I did notice, I was worried about the control deck not having like an overlay on it. It doesn't seem to be an issue. I got a chance to see the WWE WrestleFest. There was nothing, not even like a scratch. Centipede looked miraculous, not even a scratch. Obviously, the Star Wars, it's kind of angled in a way where people aren't really going to have their hands on anything other than the yoke. So obviously, there's going to be no markings or anything like that. But I did think that the cabinets actually worked pretty good, and they looked good. They do seem a little shorter than Arcade1Up cabinets, but I was impressed with the fact that with no overlay, it doesn't seem like the paint was coming off. The marquees looked really good. The emulation, for the most part, seemed pretty good on all the cabinets that I tried. I played WWE WrestleFest and Superstars on the WrestleFest cabinet. On the Centipede cabinet, I tried Centipede, Millipede, and Crystal Castles. That worked very well. Did not like the joystick being there, but I know that's for like the Atari games that they kind of threw on there. I feel like that's kind of a waste, but the trackball seemed to work well. The buttons were okay. Like, they're cheap, but they get the job done. And the Star Wars cabinet, though, I think the form factor is a little clunky. The yoke seemed to work well. Is it as good as the old school Arcade1Up Star Wars yoke? I don't believe so. I feel like it just didn't feel like it really had like the resistance with the movement. Like with the Arcade1Up original Star Wars, if you moved the thing, there was a bit of resistance and it would kind of come back in place. I didn't feel like I was feeling that as much with this basic fun version, but my son was playing it. He was having a good time, and it seemed to be working quite well as far as just being accurate with like his movements and stuff like that. So trying these basic fun cabinets, I actually think like they're pretty decent. They're better than I thought they were. So that kind of shows hope for me with whatever they make in the future, because obviously it's going to get better with time. I did wish that they added the full coin door even on like their deluxe version or ultra, I believe they call it, because it did look kind of weird without that when you kind of get used to that with the Arcade1Up cabinets. But other than that, I thought they were pretty good. I was kind of shocked at how good they actually seemed. But yeah, probably my biggest thing was like WWE WrestleFest. If they had the proper roster, I would have actually left with that cabinet that day. But with the changes that they made, unfortunately, that's just too much of a change for me. So I did not pull the trigger on that cabinet, but we'll see if they do Turtles. That's the one that I'm the most interested in, because that will be the authentic ROMs if they were to do it, because there's no reason to change anything. And yeah, to have that old school artwork back, just the nostalgia that would bring to my space, it would be a must have. But other than that, pretty much what I've been kind of focused on in this man cave, because I have kind of cooled it with buying some of the arcade cabinets, is collecting some wrestling stuff, because I'm a big pro wrestling fan and I love my man cave kind of having that presence down here. I have my wrestling belts on the wall, and I do have some wrestling figures. But I started collecting two new style of wrestling figures in this space. The first being LJN figures. Now, I grew up playing with some hand-me-down LJN figures that I believe it was my cousin had them. So I have that nostalgia for LJN. But then the Hasbro figures were kind of like the ones that were probably the most nostalgic to me, and the Jax figures. But still, with WWE doing old school LJN figures again, it was something that I wanted to have in my man cave. So I've picked up some LJN figures. So I got the Hogan one here. I have the whole first wave, which is John Cena, Dusty Rhodes, and Jake Paul. I've ordered the Wave 2 from eBay, because they're not available here in Canada yet, so I had to go the eBay route. So Wave 2 is Stone Cold, Ultimate Warrior, King Kong Bundy, and Jesse the Body Ventura. But he's got the same pose as the old school figure, but they made him wear his like announcing clothes instead of having him in his wrestling gear. So I've been really excited, collecting those and picking those up. Don't really know where I'm going to display them yet, but that's definitely something that I've been very passionate about. Like I love how we have the Hogan that I just showed you, which is obviously the old school mold and paying tribute to the old school LJN figures. But then they got like new ones like this, like John Cena, that it's just cool. And I had some extra LJN figures that I've also given my son, and he's really enjoyed playing with them. And it's just, it's just this really cool thing where, just seeing a new generation kind of embrace, these old school toys, these heavy, wrestling toys that you can kind of bash. And unfortunately, when you bash them, they do get the scratches and stuff like that. But they're just really fun to play with. So fun collecting them and keeping them, on the card and in the plastic, but also fun having some extra ones that I could see my son kind of play and play with and embrace. And it's just kind of a full circle moment for me. Another thing I've been collecting is some Funko Pops. Now, I've had a love-hate relationship with Funko for probably the whole time I started collecting Funkos. I've been through points where I've collected piles of them and then I sell them because I think they look dumb. But they are getting a little bit better and they are getting more details. So I started collecting some wrestling ones, and then from there I kind of went like full fledged into it as far as collecting like more retro ones. But I do got some modern ones coming as well. So for example, when it comes to like the retro one, I just got a Ric Flair one, which I think is really well done. And then as far as like a modern one, I got like CM Punk doing his pipe bomb. I also have like Angle and Eddie, who are two huge inspirations to me as far as like wrestling style, because not a lot of people know this, but I trained to be a wrestler for a short time because of the fact that I'm such a big wrestling fan. And two of the people that I really got inspiration from and tried to kind of emulate in the ring was Kurt Angle and Eddie Guerrero. Unfortunately, I never got to the point where I actually wrestled like a legit match. I just kind of, learned how to wrestle during some training sessions. We actually did some like in-ring stuff, some tag stuff. So I did have like matches in, training sessions, but I never got to actually perform in front of anybody. I kind of bowed out just before that kind of happened, just because during that time I was starting what has become my career, and I just wasn't available on the weekends to actually wrestle at some of these shows that they were doing. So I had to kind of, weigh it out. And unfortunately, I knew that to make wrestling a priority, I would have been pretty much starving. And I like money because I want to obviously have a future and be able to financially be comfortable. So I had to choose my legit job over wrestling, unfortunately. But it was a time that I really valued and really enjoyed. And like I said, having Kurt and Eddie Funkos kind of commemorates that time in my life. So I got like The Undertaker and Kane as well. Kane with the mask, because he was my first true favorite wrestler. Taker was kind of in that spot, but I really got like fully invested in Kane when he showed up in '97. I got Hogan and Warrior coming. I have, as far as modern ones, I got Cody and Roman and Cena coming. So I'll probably do an actual video on like my full Funko collection when they all end up here in the Mancave arcade. But yeah, these newer Funkos I'm getting more into because of the detail. They look less kiddish and plain. They actually have some personality and really kind of have a lot of the elements that really kind of encapsulates the actual characters that they're obviously paying tribute to. So that's another big thing I've been collecting. Still collecting the live action Batman stuff. We got the Joker coming out sometime this month. Jack Nicholson's Joker. It looks phenomenal. Obviously, they couldn't really do the face exactly the way it should be, because I think they're trying to make it look like Jack Nicholson's Joker, but I don't think they paid the rights to have the actual Jack Nicholson face, because I think it costs like $1 million. So they tried to make it look as close to him as possible, but we all know that's Jack Nicholson's Joker. Really excited to get my hands on that. I'm just waiting for that announcement, and then I'm going to pre-order it right away. So looking forward to adding that to my collection. And then it's literally just like Bane from Batman and Robin I still have to get if they ever do that figure, and Ra's al Ghul from Batman Begins. Other than that, I think I got pretty much everything that I want. Uh, I mean, they could do some alternate suits that I would probably pick up, like in Batman and Robin, they have the Arctic suits at the end, which is like that kind of dark blue with the gray. If they do Batman, Robin, and Batgirl with those Arctic suits, I'll probably pick those up. Um, if they do the Black Panther suit, that's what it's called, which is Val Kilmer's original Batman suit. Obviously, it's not an actual Black Panther suit. It's a Batman suit, but they call it the Panther suit because of the style of black that they use. I would pick that up, which I believe that is rumored to be coming out as well. And then that collection is done. And unfortunately, McFarlane is losing the DC multiverse license. So once I kind of collect those, I feel like that collection's kind of done. And then if I want to collect for the new Batman movie that's coming out in 2027, I'll have to go the Mattel route. But from what I've seen so far, the way they're doing their figures is not really my cup of tea. So we'll see what company I end up going with to kind of buy figures to add to that collection when that movie comes out, so I can have some representation of that movie in my collection, because that's my thing. I'm collecting the live action Batman figures and the Batmobiles as well, and I want to have that movie represented when it comes out. So we'll see when we'll see what ends up happening with that. So other than that, yeah, just been living life. It has been really busy. So I appreciate anybody that's supporting the channel and anyone that's subscribed to the channel and sticking it out, even though I'm not, getting content out as quickly as I would like to. That means a lot to me. You guys are the best. I'll always try to keep some type of presence on the channel, even during slow times, whether it's, posting on the community posts or even a reel. But as far as long form content, it is going to be a little few and far between during this time, but I will try to get some videos out when I have the time, because there is some videos that I want to do. There's a retro gaming video I want to do at some point. I have some ideas. I've kind of wrote some stuff down. So hoping to make that video. You guys will know it when you see it. Obviously, if there's anything announced, regarding BasicFun, Arcade1Up, I'll try to kind of cover that. Some of the other arcade companies I don't really cover because I've kind of lost interest, like, at games. I know Iconic Arcade has, their Street Fighter cabinet and their Double Dragon cabinet, but people have paid for the Street Fighter cabinet. They don't even have it in hand yet because it's been delayed so many times. So I've just kind of lost interest in that company for the time being. So I'm not going to cover that. There is that Wonderland Amusements, or I believe I got the name right with that company. They got their mechanical pinball table that they did, like a miniature pinball table, which is based on Alice in Wonderland. I had some interest in covering that, but I haven't really seen a lot of news on that. So until I watch enough videos to kind of get that info, it's hard for me to kind of talk about it. But it does look like a cool product, so we'll see kind of what happens with that. But other than that, yeah, just been collecting the wrestling stuff. I'm glad that I got to try some BasicFun cabinets. Was shocked by the Sonic cabinet, but we'll see where they go from here. But anyways, have a good one. I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. I'll hopefully have some content out soon, like as far as like a legit video that's not a podcast. I really want to do that retro gaming one I was speaking of. So again, when you guys see it, you'll know what I'm talking about, because I'm really excited to do this video if I find the time to do it. So hopefully I'll have that out for you guys soon. Other than that, we'll see what happens with BasicFun and Arcade1Up, and we'll see what happens with some of the other stuff that I want to do videos on, like my Funko collection and stuff. So take care, have a great one, and thanks so much for watching.